The episode 7 of Bad Buddy the series is definitely my favorite episode as of right now. It has a lot of cute and fluffy scenes while maintaining the essence of its story. It might not be following the novel chapter by chapter. It doesn't fall short on giving us surprises on its plot per episode. Although the episode 7 was already full of lovely scenes, the episode 8 looks sweeter than ever because Pat and Pran are now officially together. But we should not downplay and be relaxed because it could also have a drama between their friends and also with Pat's father. In this video, I'll be talking about my opinions about the episode 7 and some scenes based on the novel that could be seen in the future episodes. Anyway, if you live in a different country and somebody else's series are not available to yours, you can use ExpressVPN to watch those restricted series. Use the link on the description below to have 49% discount and 3 months free if you opt to avail the 12-month plan. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Just like what I have said earlier, the episode 7 gave us so many lovely and fluffy scenes of Pat and Pran. Their chemistry with one another is something I admire because it made those scenes believable to the eyes of the audience. I'm also quite happy that the parents of Pran are also welcoming to the idea that their son could have a boyfriend and not a girlfriend, since we are already in the modern day, although they don't approve having a relationship with the boy next door. The competition of the two gave an additional sweetness to the scenes and it felt so magical. Although I'm considering this episode as my favorite one, it isn't perfect overall. The scene where Y returned Pran's guitar to him, it was shown that Pat was actually jealous. But after that, it was never addressed on any other scenes, although it's not a big issue. I also think that Y can be manipulative sometimes by trying to persuade Pran to do his work for him. Nevertheless, I still love Y and I can't help myself not to stare at him on his scenes. Lastly, the exchange of kiss scene in the last part was also hilarious and delightful. Overall, the episode 7 exceeded my expectation for it, and I'm also hoping that the future episodes would be the same or even better than that. Since episode 5, I'm already thinking that Ink and Pa would be a great couple if they are introduced to be. In episode 7, this only solidifies that it could actually happen, although we could see a love triangle by having Y as the third person. If Y would pursue on hitting Pa, then it would be chaotic since Pat is her older brother and we already know that Y and Pat won't reconcile with one another. It would be a big move if Ink and Pa would end up together because other production companies would see the potential of producing GL stories, and of course to have diverse couples in the series. Anyway, either Ink and Pa, or Pa and Y, both would be a game changer to the plot. I know that the deal they have made in the previous episode would actually give us a lot of sweet scenes because they are competitive with one another by nature, but the way Pat let Pran win their deal, it's indeed heartwarming to see. Pat didn't mind if he lost against Pran on their deal as long as he could be with Pran forever. Just like what we saw on the novel, Pat would risk his relationship with his friends in order to be with Pran openly and not hiding their relationship in public. Pat would certainly do everything just to be with Pran even if their loved ones would be against on their relationship. Although this thing isn't a big deal for the rest of the episodes until the ending, it's worth noting because it's one of the reasons why we have a different plot in the series compared to the novel version. Last episode 7, there was actually a time skip by going to their sophomore year. In the book, they are already on their 4th year and it was heavily implied how busy Pran in making sure that their projects would be done on time. Because of Pran being so much busy by staying up late for countless nights, Pat was always there to support him and ran errands for Pran, and even to annoy him every night. Although we didn't get the same sweet scenes from the novel, the series managed to have its own and make it even more adorable. When the fight was over, Pran rushed Pat to the hospital because of his wounds. Pran stayed beside him for a couple of days to make sure that Pat was fine and didn't have serious wounds on his head. There was actually a time when Pat needed to undergo a CT scan in order to check if he was totally okay. To be honest, Pat didn't want to do it because he was afraid of doing so, but Pran persuaded him so he could have an assurance on Pat's health. Y also came to the hospital and brought food to them, although he said that he did not want to help Pat. The other reason why Y came to the hospital was to get his car back, but he changed his mind and just said that Pran should take Pat home. Y also said to Pran that he did not need to worry about their friends because they understood Pran on having a relationship with Pat. If I remember it correctly, this would be the first date of Pat and Pran, although it wasn't said that they were dating. Pat came to the architecture department at that time to see Pran, but the eyes of architecture students are on him because it was the first time they saw him on their department. When Pran went out from their building, Pat immediately asked Pran to watch a movie with him. Pran was actually reluctant at first but eventually gave in after he was convinced by his boyfriend. The two watched an action movie and afterwards ate in a Japanese restaurant. The two also bought an ice cream because it's one of Pran's favorite food. While Pran was licking his ice cream, Pat licked the other side of the ice cream. Pran was shocked and pushed Pat away from him. Pat could feel that Pran was just shy because of what he had done. Right after that, the two went home in order for Pran to finish his works. Pat didn't tell Pran that he had an ice cream residue on his face, and the latter was furious when the former didn't tell about it. Pat wiped off the residue, but Pran's lips caught his attention. A couple of seconds later, the two were already sharing a kiss with one another until they were interrupted when Y called Pran's phone. Since Pat didn't go back to their parents' house for quite a long time, he was forced by his sister to go back home. If Pat would refuse to follow, Pa was concerned that their mother would come to their dormitory to fetch him. Pat wouldn't want that to happen since his parents didn't know that Pran was also living in the same dormitory. On their house, while Pat and his family were having a dinner, his mother opened up that he looked so much stressed. She thought that Pat would need someone to take care of him, and also realized that Pat and his childhood friend Punch would be a great couple. Pat refused to do it, but his mother insisted. At the back of his mind, Pat wanted to scream because of frustrations. Bad Buddy is getting more and more interesting every episode, and I think that the future episodes would be even better than the previous ones. What do you think will happen in the next episode of Bad Buddy? Thank you for watching. That's it, and see you on the next one.